Hello everybody, but we're here back with another video, and today we're going to be ranking some Resident Evil games. I'm only ranking the ones I've played, and of course this is based on my opinion. So we're going to get right to it in a second. Firstly, I haven't played all the games. I've only played some, and two of these on this list I have not finished. But I'm going to rank them anyway. I feel comfortable ranking them, but my view on them might not be final. Maybe after like Resident Evil 4 remake comes out, we'll redo this list, and I'll have beaten those two games. But for now, I'm gonna rank them where I think they are, where I believe they are, and just how I think they are while I'm getting through them. And I'm ranking them on like 5 different things. With the story, characters, puzzles, areas and locations, bosses and enemies, and then the atmosphere and the music of the game, right? The atmosphere can also relate to horror. So, I mean, 5, but I put so many together. Anyhow, let's get right to it. Firstly, I'm going to start with the online games. And with REverse, I can't really say too much about this game. All I have done is played like a 2-minute beta on it. The story characters, there is none. It's an online game. I mean, you get to play as like Leon and Jill and stuff going through RPD. You get to play as Jack, Nemesis. I mean, that's cool. The puzzles, there's no puzzles. It's an online shooter. The areas and locations, I mean, as far as I know, it's only RPD. So, bosses and enemies, you are versing each other. In atmosphere and music, there's none. It just C tier. It's an online game. I don't know how to rank them. Right? So that's REverse. The online ones are going to be shorter. Okay, and then with the next online game, we have Resident Evil Resistance. I'm going to put this at a B tier, just above Resistance. Like I said, Resistance is only in beta right now, as while filming this video, so I can't judge it fairly. But out of all that list we had, it doesn't really fit any of the things. Now with Resistance, I think the characters you can be are cool. You have new characters. You can be Leon and Jill as well. I think that's it between like many Resident Evil cast you can be. But you also can be some villains, right? You can be Annette, Alex Wesker, Oswald E. Spencer, Nikolai, and I think it's Daniel Farbren or something. I can't. Excuse me if I pronounce these names. And I think it's really cool being able to be someone like Oswald, and you get to be. This is where it introduced like being Mr. X and Nemesis. I think it's just a cool concept. The puzzles you go around and I think you find keys and stuff, and that fits with Resident Evil. Story though, it's fine. There's multiple different areas and locations. Bosses and enemies. I mean, there's a lot of different ones that aren't in the main Resident Evil series. So I think that's cool to see. There's just a lot of different variety and stuff. And there's a lot of different costumes for the zombies as well. And the characters, which I also like. Oh, another thing on this list is extra content. Extra content is a big one. And because some of these games are basically carried by extra content to me. Well, Scratch Site, yeah. Yeah. And with the atmosphere and music, I mean, it's just the Resident Evil Online game. You're not going to have much atmosphere. The music was fine when I played it. And extra content, it's an online game. The game itself is extra content to a game we'll get on later on. We'll get to later on. So, in itself, I mean, it's a fun little experience. You'll play for like 10 hours. Other than that, I mean, fine. Feels very one-sided in the matches, though. It's either the villain's gonna win or you guys are gonna win. It depends on your team. But that's only from what I've played. So, I haven't played much of it. I mean, 12 hours is a decent amount. So, yeah. Now that we got well, I'm gonna move. I have a lot to say. Now that we got that out of the way, let's get to the main series. Resident Evil 0. I really enjoy this game a lot. A lot of people don't like this game, but I think the game itself is fun. It's a good Resident Evil game. The story and characters, I really like. I forgot the dude's. I forgot this I forgot the prisoner's name, or I think, but I think he's a good character. It's been a while since I played him. Sorry, Rebecca, she's decent. Um, the main story though, I don't buy it. The leech opera singer guy, the main villain's weak in this game. I don't buy it. I don't care for it. It's not say it's bad, but it's just I don't care for it. Right? I think the puzzles in this game are pretty good. And along with the puzzles, the areas are. People say that they're bland. I don't find that. It's just classic Resident Evil again, which with the train, I guess everyone talks about the train, and everyone's like, after the train, you get to the facility. It's eh. No, I think it's. I like the areas in this game. We have the facility, the mansion, not the mansion, the library, the lab. Just Resident Evil to me. I don't. I think the atmosphere is built up really well in this game, just like the first Resident Evil game. And the music slaps. The music in this game slaps. You know, but the areas and the puzzles, I think they're all well done. Classic Resident Evil, and it mixes horror and puzzles really well. And the extra content, you have things like Wesker mode. You can find the 100 leeches, and good, very good extra content that you can spend a couple hours on. Helps pad out the game. Not pad out the game. It's already a long game. This game took me about 12 to 15 hours to beat on my first playthrough. So it's extra content to it's already a good length game. And for the time this game came out, it looks fantastic, right? Now I say for the time it came out. When I played this game, I didn't play it on the game. I played it on the PlayStation 4 remaster, the Origins remaster, right here. Oh, that's weird. Oh, there. Yeah, there we go. Origins collection. The game felt really nice to play. Really, the controls. Out of the classic Resident Evils I played, it felt really good to control and handle. Just to me. And yeah, now let's get to the bosses. This is what brings down the game for me. I pretty much like everything about this game, except for this aspect. The bosses and enemies. The bosses are basically just big animals or insects until the last boss, which is just a blob, basically. I don't care for it at all. The bosses are just boring and bland, nothing unique, other than the Tyrant, which, wow, it's a Tyrant again. Wow. Ooh, where have we seen that before, right? I do really like the Proto-Tyrant, how you can tell it's like a prototype to the Tyrant we see in Resident Evil 1. I do enjoy that. It's just, the bosses in this game are bland. And the enemies, the enemies are kind of annoying, irritating. I mean, obviously we have zombies and stuff, but the leechmen, I feel like their range is way too much, and that you have to like kill them with fire, which isn't really given a lot in this game. So, the Molotovs, so it's hard to get through them with fire when you don't have fire. And then people complain about the monkeys a lot in this game that have like infinite health. I never had an issue with them. But my main issue with the enemies are definitely the leechmen. I don't care for them at all. And now, my main complaint with this game is there are points in the game where you go into a building, right? And there's a save room. So you go into this building, and then there's a save room inside of the building. You can only go with one character at this point, because someone needs to open the door from the outside. So you go into the save room and you save. You walk out and then there's a boss in that room. You can only use the items that you have on that one character. The player doesn't expect there to be a boss. And if you don't save before that, like soon, you can either reload the save or get through the boss. It's a flying boss fight. So you can't really do it with a knife. I don't remember. Can't really do it with a knife. I mean, of course you can. I play games a lot, but I'm not even skilled. So basically, if you don't have the resources you need to kill this boss fight here, you're screwed to where you can reload a distant save, and if you don't have a save, you start over. I don't think that's good game design, and that's my main complaint with this. Other than that, I do like the partner mechanic, how there's two of you and you can switch up. It just, overall, I really enjoy this game. I really enjoy this game. Now let's do a game I don't care for that much. Resident Evil 3, I'd put in D tier. I think Jill and Carlos are really good characters in this game. I really enjoy their characters. That's about all I can say about the characters. I enjoy Jill, Carlos, and I think Tyrell. Tyrell's a cool character. I do not like Nikolai. Nikolai can suck a fat one. I hate him. In Nikolai ties, he's the main villain of the story. I think he's a very weak main villain. It is Maurice Critical or Charlie Penguins, however you want to call him. He said it in one of his reviews or one of his videos. Nikolai would get more money selling the cure than going in with a plan, like to destroy Raccoon City. It's weak to me. His motives are weak. They're not really expressed. He's a weak villain. There isn't really like the final scene with him where you just shoot him. You can shoot him in the leg and he still gets hit in the neck, and you don't even get the satisfaction of killing him because he's just that bad. He's just that bad. And Nemesis in this game as a character, he's barely used. It's mostly scripted, right? Mostly scripted events, unlike the next game on our list. Most of these scripted encounters, and when he's not scripted, he feels very clunky when he's chasing you and stuff. I mean, that ties in with the enemies. The enemies and bosses, zombies from Resident Evil 2, Lickers Return, which I do like. And the hunters, I love the hunters in this game. I think they're well done, even though they're only in a small part of the game. Well, the hunters with the big claws, I forgot what they're called. The ones that, like, one-tap you in the sewers, I don't care for those much, but they're still a new enemy. We have paleheads that appear regularly. This game, honestly, this game has good and, like, very good enemy variety. In terms of bosses, it's just like Resident Evil 0, where the boss design, or not the bosses are bland. This game, the bosses are just Nemesis, which the first fight with Nemesis when he has a flamethrower, I thoroughly enjoyed. I really like that. But that's the only boss fight with regular Nemesis. And then he becomes like this mutated thing for the rest of the game. And you fight him by the clock tower, which, I mean, it's a good fight. It's a good fight, but you would expect him to mutate again, which he does. He gets a tentacle, but you fight him again. Same exact boss fight. And, yeah, you just fight him again. The same exact boss fight, just with one change in a different area. Then you fight him again when he's all mutated and stuff. Oh, again. He's mutated again. And he's just this big blob, and you gotta shoot the red spores and use the one-tap gun to kill him. Bland. It's just bland boss design to me in this game. The first two bosses I enjoy. The last two, I do not. And then the puzzles in this game, they're almost non-existent. There's almost no puzzles in this game. It's just like a one pathway through the game, and that's it. I don't like that. The areas in this game, they're okay. The best area in this game is the hospital. That's where most of the puzzles are seen. You gotta get the voice thing, I think. I forgot. It's been a while since I played this one. The hospital is the best area in this game to me. I did hear they cut out a lot of areas from the original, which the original is on this list, but they cut out a lot of areas. The game's very short too. There's not many puzzles. The cityscape is I do love the city. It just should have been longer. That's my main thing with this. If this game could have be way higher if it was simply longer. I beat this game like 4-5 hours on my first playthrough. And this game has almost no replay value. Like I said, there's no puzzles. Can't really change how you play the game. It's just a straight line. So the replay value in this game is next to none. The extra content in this game, terrible. Just get like a hot dagger, infinite ammo. Just that's the extra content. You have 2 costumes in this game, which you have to pay for. Garbage extra content. Or, and then you have 2 more costumes, or 1 more costume. Sorry, I think, which you can unlock, and that's it. That's the extra content in this game for this short game. That's it. But if you include resistance, it's decent, but it still doesn't make the core game in itself. It doesn't make the core gameplay experience with the story that well. The main thing with these Resident Evil games are you replay through them, you get faster times and stuff. And with this game, there's not that much variety in your playthroughs. With Resistance, I would probably put up C, maybe. It's hard to say. But basically, extra content for this game with Resistance. Basically, the extra content in this game is garbage, and they just threw Resistance in there to make it feel better. To ensure the $60 price tag, which for a 5-hour game, not much. I 100%ed this game too. Only took 24 hours. Barely any content for a $60 game. They just threw Resistance in here for it. As a game itself, D tier. With Resistance, D, but they are put on here separately. So I'm gonna rank them. Music in this game, it's good. I enjoy the music in this game. I like how the music in this game plays, unlike the next game on our list. The music is very brought out. You can actually hear it. And the atmosphere, there's not much atmosphere. The game's not scary in the slightest. It's just an action game that's straight through. Nothing changes. No puzzles, basically. Areas they could be better. The only atmosphere I really get is the hospital, and with good atmosphere is the hospital. Love the hospital, but the hospital's like what, a 40-minute sequence in the game. That's it. Out of the 4-hour game, it's like no meat on the bones. I don't think it's a good game at all. I had high hopes for this game, but it was rushed, and you can see that in the game. And if you look in the game files, they cut out all the other areas they had. It's just a rushed game. And if they spent longer on it, it would probably be higher on the list, but they didn't. So that's the reality of this game. Next game on our list, Resident Evil 2. I would put this game at an S tier. I think the story is solid. It has a solid story with some nice villains. We have Mr. X and Birkin. Mr. X chasing you throughout the mansion is amazing. The tension in that. You get to hear him like going around the mansion and stuff too. The characters, Leon, Claire, Jerry, William, Annette, Ada Wong, like the characters in this game are really strong, along with the sheriff, I think. All strong characters that reach out to me. I love all of them. The puzzles in this game are really well done. Yeah, the puzzles in this game are really well done. We have little like circuit board puzzles and keys. We have like little keys you gotta find. There's the locker combinations and the safes. They're in Resident Evil 3 too, but I feel like in this game they have more meaning. If that makes sense. You find the key card, you get the treasure photos, and then you gotta find the location. You get like weapon upgrades. You get a gun, you get a pistol, and you can like add upgrades to it. And I love that about this game. The puzzles are just very good in this game. Very well done. You have the three medallions, the chess puzzle. It just well done puzzles. The areas and locations. I think RPD is a fantastic location. You do go back to it in Resident Evil 3. Not even as Jill though, as Carlos. I think RPD is a fantastic location. The sewers is also a good location. I wouldn't say it's the best. sewers are okay, and the lab is okay again, but it doesn't start. The RPD is a fantastic area. I think it's one of the best Resident Evil areas in the series. The atmosphere is amazing. The music in this game doesn't play unless it's like a boss fight. You go into a save room, we get the booming Resident Evil 2 remake theme. Love it. I love it a lot. But that ends after 30 seconds and you don't hear it again. So that it's just silence. The sound design does go into the atmosphere a lot. You hear Mr. X walking around. You can hear zombies banging on windows. It brings you into this world. The sound is very important into this game and how you move throughout the mansion. Not the mansion, the PlayStation. I do thoroughly enjoy this game. Now the bosses and enemies, I love them all. I mean, honestly, like going through these games, like seeing them, like we have the bugs and insects, Nemesis. In this game, the bosses consist of a Birkin and then one Mr. X boss fight. So I mean, I guess that's something I'm now realizing in this game. They're mostly the same bosses throughout one game, but thing is, all Birkin's fights are different. They're all different. They're all unique. They all have their own flavor. The first one really builds tension that you're being chased, and you can hear his haunting, like groaning, like you can hear his pain. And then you have G2. Don't care for this boss fight. This is the only boss fight I don't like, but some people do. I just had bad experiences with it. G3. The mutation. Just what are you even looking at? What are you fighting? G4. Same thing here, and that all the areas that you fight them in are unique and different, and all the mutations are different enough to warrant, like, it feels like you're fighting something different each time. And then Mr. X, I think that's also a fantastic boss fight. And then the enemies with the zombies, the lickers, the big dudes in the sewers, the dogs, the Ivies. The enemy variety is okay, but the design for these enemies, how they work, I love all of them. And the extra content, I think that this game has good extra content. Can't speak again. Has good extra content. We have hunk mode, then five different tofu modes. Whoops. And then you have like the ghost survivors, those modes. Just a lot of extra content. The costumes, there's a lot of different costumes in this game, and some of them you can unlock, some of them you have to buy, which I don't care for buying. And this game has very good replay value in that there's Leon A, Leon B, Claire A. So it's 4 different versions of the game in one. They're not too different from each other, but it's still 4 different ways to play the game. It's very good replay value. I think this is a fantastic game. I love it a lot. Okay, and these next 2 games on our list are that we're gonna be going through. I have not finished either of these. On this one, I just finished the park section, I think. And where I'd put Resident Evil 3 as of right now, I'd give it an A tier. I haven't, like I said, I haven't finished this game, but I feel like I've played enough to rank it fairly for now. That could change when I finish this game, but I can't physically finish this game at the moment because my TV broke and I got a new one, but it doesn't have composite. I have the game for the GameCube. Yeah, I have the game for the GameCube, and you see, whoops, Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, and I can't play my GameCube because I don't have composite. So unless I get like an adapter, I can't finish this game. But from what I played, I enjoyed it. I only did one boss fight, I think, which was Nemesis, and I remember where I'm at now. I'm on the Gravedigger boss fight with the giant worm. I think Gravedigger's a cool boss in this game. The enemies in this game, I like all of them. You know, with zombies. That's basically all I got to. I didn't even get to the hunter. I know there's hunters in this game. I don't know if there's lickers though. I think I've really only seen zombies. So enemy variety. I mean, I haven't beaten this game, so I can't judge it fairly. But I thought the first boss was good, and I'm on Gravedigger. I did enjoy that. We have zombie dogs too. Don't know extra content for this game, but based off what I've played, I'm really enjoying the story. I really enjoy Jill as a character, and I like Carlo too. I have not seen Nikolai, so I know he's in the game somewhere. I've not seen him. I think this game is more action focused, but it still has the Resident Evil puzzles everyone enjoys, or not everyone, some people. I enjoy them. And what put this game as an A tier, how I feel, why I feel I would rank it like this. Areas and locations, very solid areas. We have the park, like I said. I think I started that. The city though, you can like see. You go through so much of the city. I thoroughly enjoy the city area. That's yeah. The, the city is just so you see it falling apart when you are. I mean, I just remember like running past one of the screen because it's still camera angles. You go past one screen and you see this girl that's running from zombies, and if you follow her, you can find like later on you can find her corpse. You see these people dying. You see the city falling apart. It's just that's what I enjoy about this game. Along with that, we have the different decisions. You can like choose to fight Nemesis, or you can just like run away, and that changes how the game is. Every time you start the game, it's the areas are randomized, right? And not the areas, the items. So, from what I've seen, good good replay value. I enjoyed the enemies, even though I haven't seen many. I enjoyed that one Nemesis boss fight I did, and I'm on Gravedigger overall, and I enjoy the puzzles. I mean, I can't rank it fairly, but we'll put it as a loose A for now. Just a very loose A. We have Resident Evil 5. That's our next game on this list. Let's see. I have all the games sitting next to me. I was gonna like put them up on the camera, but I forgot to do that with 3 and 2. But I mean, look, it's Resident Evil 3, right? Wow. And then Resident Evil 2. Wow. So Resident Evil 5 here. Um, I'm on the last chapter of this game. There's 6 chapters. It's very action oriented. It takes place, I don't know when it takes place like 12, I think, in Africa. I think I don't care for the story of this game, but I do really enjoy Chris and Wesker as characters. Shiva's, I think she's a good character. I don't care for what they did with Jill in this game with the whole mind control thing. So yeah, we're gonna rank this at high B tier. This would be low, like very low. Story characters, I think they're good. Don't care for the story though. I like the characters, don't care for the story that much. The puzzles, non-existent. I can't recall any puzzles in this game. The areas and locations, I find the areas very bland. It's just Africa. Of course, we have labs, temples, but they all feel the same to me. They all feel the same. Bosses, I only remember like one, and it was like a leech dude. That's all I can recall from that. So bosses are pretty bland. Um, the atmosphere and music, game's an action game, not horror at all. And the music, it's just Resident Evil music. I don't get much out of it. And the extra content, yeah, mercenaries mode. That's a cool mode. You could be different characters and stuff. But what puts this game as a B tier, even though I've basically said pretty much only negatives about it, is I do enjoy the enemy design. There's a lot of different types of enemies, and it just feels fresh when you get to these enemies, even though the areas feel bland. That it feels fresh, and the gameplay is pretty fun. I think the gameplay is pretty fun in this game. I mean, all these games have fun gameplay, but I think this game just has well-designed gameplay. But what puts it at a B tier is it's really fun if you're playing with a friend. If you're playing alone, it's just kind of sad. You have the partner mechanic in this game without a second person, kind of sucks. I mean, the AI is glitchy and stuff, but with a friend, It's really fun. You get a lot of fun out of this game. As a Resident Evil game, I think it's bad. As a game itself, I think it's a good game. It's a good game in itself. So it's yeah, that's what puts it at a B tier for me. I don't have much to say about it. Oh, and like I said, I also didn't finish it, so just based on how I played. So these two, loose A, loose B, but that's what brings it up to a B for me. Okay, so we ranked these games so far, right? And now we have probably one of the most popular Resident Evil games. Been ported like how many times? It's on like 13 different consoles when it was supposed to be exclusive to GameCube. Very popular game, known to be one of the best games of all time, like usually top 5 on the list I've seen. Resident Evil 4, bring it at an S tier. Not the best, just an S tier. I have reasoning for that. So this is what Resident Evil 5 is built on: the fun gameplay from Resident Evil 4. Overall, the story is good. It's a good story. There's plot holes in it. Like, I don't think Sadler's plan makes much sense. I don't care for him as a villain either. But this game has so many other villains, like Salazar, Chief Mendez, Krauser, and in the Vertigo, and bosses like El Gigante. It really fills out the game. It makes up for Sadler to me. It doesn't make up for the main story just being weakish. And the characters, Leon, Ada, love their characters. I love Salazar. I enjoy Ashley in this game, even though a lot of people don't. But I'm not going to say this game is perfect, like I said. The puzzles in this game, there's few, but the ones that are here work, and I love them. It's more action-oriented, but it still has that tinge of horror. The soundtrack is amazing, too. The atmosphere works. The gameplay is fun. There's awesome enemy variety. You have and the enemy variety just keeps going. It keeps going until a certain point in the game where I just fall off. Well, not enemy variety. That's just how I feel about the game. The enemy variety is good throughout the whole entire game. The bosses are also good. El Gigante, Chief Mendez, Krauser, Sadler, Salazar, Vertigo. Amazing bosses. There's not a bad boss in this game, except for maybe the final boss, Sadler. I think he's the weakest boss, and it kind of sucks how the ending of the game is the weakest part. If it went out with a bang, it would be the best, but it doesn't. And I'll get to that. With areas and locations, that's our next topic. Areas, I think the game is very, very different. It's just they take you to some random place in Spain, and you're like, it's just a Spanish village, right? Just a Spain village. Then they take you to a castle. Then you go into the mines, and then you go into you go into the mines because it just and what they do with these areas, they keep you going back. That it's very lengthy. You get to feel the areas. They do so much with the areas and the puzzles, like I said, and these areas are all well done. Oh, I know another character I really like. I love Lewis. Lewis is an amazing character, best man. Yeah, the areas I think they're good areas, locations, and I think the game continues to be pretty much perfect until we go to the island. The enemy variety is still here. The Regenerators and the Iron Maiden, peak enemy design. I love them so much. But it feels like the game should have ended. The game carries on for little too long. If it ended 2 hours earlier, it would have probably been in the best tier. But it just feels like it drags on a little bit too long, especially on the island sequence where you have the helicopter just shooting all the enemies. It just becomes a full-on action game. I don't like that. The island just basically takes out the horror elements until you get to the regenerators. And then you get the regenerator section, and then you go back to just a full-on action that just it feels bland. It gets stale by the end of it. Like I said, the final boss isn't that good to me. Extra content, you have mercenaries. It's very fun in this game. You have what's it called? The Ada story, very fun. And then, just replaying this game, it's very, very. You can replay through it a lot. Very replayable. even though it's like mostly like Resident Evil 3, a straight path, there is so much to this game and it is so well designed. You can just replay it over and over and have so much fun. It's it it boosted Resident Evil to like popularity, and this game is just it's so much fun. It's so much fun, and this game is a 10 out of 10 until the last 2 hours where I feel it drags on a little. But overall, this game is pretty much near perfect, and yeah, no, I did Resident Evil 4. It's Resident Evil 4. What else do I have to say? Amazing game, amazing game. I think it's better than Resident Evil 2. So yeah, that's Resident Evil 4. And with the next game on our list, Resident Evil 7. Where is it? Right here. Got the gold edition right here. This was I think it's well, I'll just rank it first. High A tier, very high A tier. Not so much S. I have a few problems with it. Very high A tier. And let's get started. I think the story is very solid. It's a return to horror from Resident Evil 5, and it revitalized the series in a fantastic way. Characters, I love the Baker family. Baker family is fantastic. Jack, Lucas, Marguerite, Zoe, fantastic characters. I think. And did I say Lucas? I might have. I think I'm Evelyn. I'm forgetting the main villain. I think she's a great character. The weakest characters include, for me, Ethan and Mia. I don't care for either of them, and I like how they use Chris in this game, even though his design's probably not the best. You know, it's just a solid game. Solid game. Puzzles, fantastic. I love the little shadow puzzles in this. I love them. And overall, the puzzles are just well done. Areas and locations, the Baker house, the old house. Love both of them, and they make you go back to the Baker house. They even make you go back to the first house that you enter when you get kidnapped. Just that's peak game design to me. The only area I have a problem with is the boat. I think the boat is very boring, bland. They basically strip you away from all your items to make a scary area, which I don't think lands. We've already seen the molded and their what they can do. So by this point in the game, understand? Enemy variety very low. I 3 different enemies. We have the molded, the ones on 4 legs too, and then the ones that puke. That's the enemy variety in this game. I have a Lego piece. Bosses, though. Bosses are fantastic. There's only one boss I don't care for. Like, we start out with Mia. I think that's a good boss fight. Brings you into the game. It's easy. It's easy. But you're still learning how to play the game. And after the horrifying sequence where you get your hand cut off, it's a good boss fight, good introduction. We have Chainsaw Jack. I think that's a very good boss fight. The chainsaw's a little clunky, but I still I very thoroughly enjoy this boss fight. It's very fun fighting Jack with when he's holding scissor chainsaws. I've skipped over the garage fight. I think the garage fight is good. I enjoyed the garage fight, and there's some different outcomes that you can have in that. I do enjoy. It's very easy though. Then we have Margaret, horrifying boss fight, and I think Margaret is probably my favorite boss in this game. Other than the DLC. The DLC boss is fantastic. So Margaret's a fantastic boss fight, horrifying. Probably one of the worst bosses in this game to me is Mutated Jack. Not that the boss design is good. It's good boss design and gameplay. I just don't care for his design as a mutated design. It takes the horror out of it. It could have been a very scary boss fight, but they just go for like a blob with he's just shouting southern lines, and he looks ridiculous. He's not scary at all, and it's like, oh, shoot the red eyes. I mean, that's how it was in Resident Evil 2 with the bosses shoot the red eyes. They're just so apparent on this. So apparent, and there's so many of them, and it's very easy to. Probably the one boss I think is bad. Evelyn. Bad boss fight. It's just shoot the wall. I mean, Resident Evil 2 also had a shoot the wall boss fight. But I feel like that one still had more meaning. Not meaning. More to it. Basically, honestly, between the boss fight, the shoot the wall, and this, I just like the design better in this. That's really it. You're fighting, what, you're just shooting grandma? And for a final boss of the game, it's just bland. Like, at least we have, like, G4 and the Super Tyrant that we can fight. And then this is, like, a secret boss. This was the final boss that ends out this game. Don't think it's good. Then we get to the atmosphere. Music, fantastic. Go Teller and Rhodey is a fantastic song choice for this game, and I love the atmosphere. The atmosphere is horrifying. It's scary. It makes you unnerved. The areas, like I said, they're designed terrifying. And this game just, honestly, the gameplay itself feels so good to play. It feels so good to play. And the extra content in this game is booming with extra content. Booming. We have the Blackjack, the Nightmares, Daughters. I'm missing one of those. The Room, the one where you're in the room. And then we have Ethan Must Die, Jack's 55th birthday, Not a Hero, End of Joe, though I think I forgot what it's called. Joe Must Die? No, it's not Joe Must Die. End of Zoe, I just said that. With Joe. Fantastic. Honestly, I'm gonna put this at a low S. The extra content in this game pushes this game up. You don't have costumes or anything, but you have so much extra content. This game is booming with extra content. There's so much to do, and it adds so much to the game, which is already like a good 8-hour experience on your first playthrough, with good story, good characters, good bosses, good areas, good horror, good puzzles. This game has so much to it. Where I think this game falls a little bit, the ending sequence. You have the area with the boat. I think the boat is a weak sequence, very boring. In the final boss. That's it. That's the only problems I can find with this game. There's one more thing though. I wish you could skip cutscenes. I don't. Maybe I'm missing something in it, but I don't like how you can. It makes replaying it a little eh. Other than that, fantastic game. The DLC Not a Hero, might as well go over that. We have the Lucas boss. Fantastic boss fight to me. I think it's fun. It's basically what I wish they did with Mutated Jack and making the mutation scary, and they did it in this DLC, and they used Lucas well. Fantastic villain too. And you play as Chris. You get to play as Chris again. Like, I think that's good at getting new players into the old characters, even though it's just one. And then End of Zoe. You play as Joe. Fantastic new character. I love the boxing mechanics. I love the boxing in this game. Not the boxing, just the punching. It's super fun gameplay. I wish they didn't use Jack again, but they used him again in the brother on brother fight. It's good. It's so much fun. It's actually quite difficult too. It's just so much fun. This game is booming with content. The game design is amazing. The gameplay is fun. Resident Evil 7, just talking about it, I want to play through those modes again. Maybe not the game, because I'm speedrunning it. I'm gonna speedrun it soon. So yeah, Resident Evil 7, low S tier. I still enjoy 2 better. I mean, honestly, I think 2 has more replay value. So that's why I'm putting it above it. And then obviously Resident Evil 4. So that's Resident Evil 7. Okay, and now we have the newest entry on this list. Resident Evil Village. Putting this at a D, I don't think any of these games are necessarily bad. Village is still a good game. I think this game has probably the weakest characters in the series I've played. I don't care for Ethan. Don't care for Mia. I hate how they use Chris in this game. I think Mother Miranda is a weak villain. The only character I do enjoy is Heisenberg, and I'll talk about the villains in later on when I talk about this game. I think Heisenberg is a very good character. Just I hate what they do with all the characters. Story, honestly, this is probably the worst Resident Evil story. The it's dumb. The why it's basically The Last Jedi, a movie that makes no sense in Resident Evil form, where Chris won't tell Ethan why he's doing what he was doing because he doesn't want him to get involved, even though either way he knows Ethan is gonna get involved. So dumb. It's so dumb, and they literally make Chris look like the bad guy for like marketing for marketing. There's no reason for it. And even on the poster, it's Chris, half werewolf. Like he's the bad guy. Doesn't work. He barely has any screen time too. Puzzles. This game sucks with puzzles. You get an item, and then you look left, it goes into the hole. That's the puzzle. And then you have the piano puzzle, which you'd think would be like, oh, you gotta play it, like every time you miss, like you do it wrong. It would reset. It doesn't. You just spam every key and you do the puzzle. That's the puzzles in this game suck so much. The areas, it's Resident Evil 4 again. It's Resident Evil 4 again. It's literally a copy of Resident Evil 4. You go to a village, then you go to a castle. There's a village sequence where they just fight you, and then a bell rings and they go away. Exactly like Resident Evil 4. You go to a castle with a villain, and who has some right hands. Wow, so dumb. After the castle, though, I think the game, the areas in themselves, decent designed. I think the village. Okay, other than it being a copy of Resident Evil 4, basically, it's a sequel to the original Resident Evil formula, while being a spiritual successor to Resident Evil 4. I don't think that works in this game. I like both Resident Evil 7 and 4. Doesn't work for me in this game. The areas, let's start with the village. I think the village is a good area, and I like how you keep going back to it. I think it's not scary at all. There's one scary sequence in this, and I will get to that. I think the village is just a good area, and I really like how there's the hunting mechanic where you like kill fish and pigs and stuff, and you get meat, and you can upgrade your stuff with that. Really enjoy that. I really enjoy that. Then we have the castle. I think the castle's a bad area. I didn't enjoy the castle like I would. I think Lady D, the tall, big, mommy vampire that everyone talks about, overrated as hell. I don't care for her as a villain. She's interesting. She has something to lose, and she does lose it. And then I just wish we had to see more of her, or we just fight her and kill her, and before she becomes a big dragon. In her boss fight, I don't care for her boss fight. It's just sad boss fight. I don't care for it. I don't think it's good designed. But her as a character, she's probably one of the most interesting. Her and Heisenberg, but they just kill her off. And then after the castle, we can either go to the fishing town or the dollhouse. Start with the fishing town. I think the fishing town is. I do like the atmosphere it brings. I do like the design of it. I just wish it was a little longer. And I do think Monroe. Sorry, I think it's Monroe. I think he's a very interesting character. Very interesting. But you have like 2 scenes with him and then killing him off. There's no character development. You don't get to see him. You don't get to explore his character. They basically tried to do like what they did with the Baker family, but with a little more characters, and you don't explore any of them. Where in this game, you explore Lucas, you explore Zoe, explore Jack. I explore Jack a ton. The only one you don't really explore is Margaret. She's the weakest in this game to me, but at least she had her own area, and she was a menace. She was gross, and you get to see her. She's more prevalent in the extra modes too. Well, in this game, Monroe, you just go there and kill him. And then you go to the dollhouse. Well, you go back to the village. Things are changed. You go to the dollhouse where I do like Monroe's boss fight, by the way. I think that's you go to the dollhouse where House Benetivo. Go through the forest. I like the forest area, but my problem with this area is it's formulaic. Basically, they take away all your items. They have one thing. They the foreign baby thing facing you. I personally, I have that hurt like doesn't hurt. It hits something with me personally, and that's why that was scary. But you play through it again, there's no horror in that at all. You realize like the baby can only go to certain locations, and there's multiple locations in that one circular pathway that is chasing you that it can't get to. And on a repeat, it's the puzzles in there. Those are good puzzles or decent puzzles, but that's the only puzzles game that are like worth it that I would consider decent. It's the same formulaic puzzles every single time where they take away all your weapons. It's just on repeat playthroughs that House Benetivo is just irritating to go through. I feel it's only scary the first time. Other than that, that's it. And it basically strips away what Resident Evil is, survival horror. It gives you anxiety over like your bullets and stuff. To Outlast, it becomes Outlast, and I think it's a good sequence. But on repeat playthroughs, it's not. Then we go to Heisenberg. We go back to the village. We do some more stuff. And like I said, they keep you going back to the village, and you explore more and more of it. I think the village is the strongest point of this game, and it's even in the title, Village. Then we go to the factory, which I think is a good area. No, I'm giving this game a decent amount of positives for it being at D2. But I'll get to why I put it so low. I think the factory is a good area. I do like the enemies in this area. The cyborgs, and they have more and more armor. It just really it's a good area. It's a good area. You go through the factory and it keeps you coming back to the one location. You have the elevator. The puzzles in this area I don't really recall many at all. But the enemy design in this area, the atmosphere, this area actually has some sort of atmosphere. The design of it, when you go on to the bridge and you can see all this, like all of Heisenberg's cyborg. Where's my hand? All of Heisenberg's cyborgs just going down the roll. You can you can even shoot them off. I think that's cool. But overall, this area I think it's probably the best area in this game, other than the village. Probably go like village, factory, fishing area, castle, House Benetivo. And then we get Heisenberg, who's a very interesting character. Very interesting character, and I feel like they could have used him in a different game. He was basically the Lucas of. He's very interesting. They could have done more, but he's there just to kill him off. I don't understand why in this game they feel like we have to murder all the villains so they don't appear in other games. You don't explore them further. I mean, look at Wesker. He was alive for he's in 0, 1. I think he's mentioned in the original version of 2. And he's the cause of like 3, right? Or one of the causes. He's in 4 for a little bit. He's the main villain of 5. Wesker has that presence. And with killing these characters or the villains, I just don't like it. I don't like it. We don't get to explore them. They're just there to die, to be a menace in that one specific area. I mean, you could say the same about Resident Evil 4, especially with like Chief Mendez, who we got like 2 scenes before the boss fight. But at least I felt like the boss fight had some sort of meaning. Or like Salazar, who we see for like a good couple hours of the game, who gets character development. He doesn't get development, but we see him being a menace. We see him being a villain. And then Krauser, who's not in the game much, but you still feel like his importance in the story. You still feel like him and Leon they go back. You can tell that. And if you play, I think he's in Code Veronica. I have this game. I have not gotten around to playing it. I think he's in Code Veronica as well. He's in something else. I forgot. But you still feel like they have meaning. And when you do kill them off in that game, it feels rewarding. While in this game, you see them like one or two times. You go to a boss fight that just doesn't feel rewarding. And now, I say when I say rewarding, you see these characters, you know their stories, except for maybe Chief Mendez, you know their stories a little bit. And while in this game, you don't. The story is told well in this game. That's what I'm trying to say. Resident Evil 4 and 7. I don't feel like the story is told well in this game at all. Anyhow, after the factory, we go to the village with Chris. I think that's a terrible sequence. We kill Urias, which who was he? Who even was he? You could say that about El Gigante though. So I think Urias is a decent menace. He only appears 3 times in the game, or you do ultimately kill him when I think his 4 times. 4 times. Sorry, I forgot about the stronghold area. That's a dumb area. I hate that area. And this last sequence with Chris, it's literally like the helicopter sequence at the end of Resident Evil 4. That I just don't care for it. And then we get the plot twist. Oh, Mother Miranda was actually Mia. Wow, who would have thought? Well, it wasn't obvious, but it just they could have done so much more with that with her shape shifting, like that she just didn't do. Why didn't she start the ceremony at the start? I watched a review of this game like a while. I think it was the Act Man. I just watched that review of this game too. Go watch his video instead of mine, please. He did a good review of this game. There was like something mayonnaise. He has a great review of this game too. I think I'm basically just story just not well told, and then the ending with the plot twist. Ethan was actually molded. I think that's a decent plot twist. It explains why he can put his arms back on and stuff, but you would feel like Chris would have known about that with all the tests they must have done on him after Resident Evil 7. I do enjoy Evelyn coming back for a short time. I think that was pretty cool. And I thoroughly enjoy that boss fight with Mother Miranda, and I do enjoy the music in that game, in that boss fight. I think the atmosphere of that boss fight works. Other than that, I don't think the atmosphere works. I don't really hear the music in the other parts of the game. The bosses, I like Monroe, and I think Urias is a decent boss fight both times you fight him. And then the last boss, Mother Miranda, I think she's cool. Areas, I already went through the areas. Some are recent, some are bad. Puzzles, just basically not, you can throw them out. And then the extra content Mercenaries mode, honestly, that's just a lame excuse for a mode, and they tried to bundle it in with Resident Evil Reverse, and that's not even out yet. It's supposed to come out when Village came out, or a month after, and it's not out. Now, I put it so low because I despise the story of this game. I hate where they are taking it. I don't agree with just like don't feel like it was fulfilling for Ethan's character, even though there's little character there. That's a fault of 7. Ethan was just okay, like I said. Here they just he's just there, I guess. I don't think they improved his character much. I find it weird how they didn't show his face. Like show how he's like human. Like I feel like the part where I feel like I like Ethan the best it was when he finds out he's holding his parts out. He has to find pieces of his daughter. I think that's a good sequence. But it's just I don't think the story is well done. Like all Resident Evil games have some sort of mystery to them. Like, why is this like this? Why is this like this? But by the end of the game, you still feel like you know somewhat of what's going on. This game, don't get that. Why is Mother Miranda bad? I don't know. Where did these villains come from, I have no idea. Um, it's just I think the story is told so poorly. I mean, I said more. I said so many more positives about this game than I did five. But I think the story is just so poor. Story is so poor. I do respect the fact that we are getting a lot of content to this game, which might change my views on some of the things. I think Rose might be a compelling character, and they can rebound. I do not agree with them taking the horror out of the game because to make it more accessible. When Resident Evil 7 was one of the best-selling Resident Evil games, and it's dumb. Honestly, just talking about it, changing my mind a little bit, I'll put it as a C tier. I think this is still the worst one. Village, replay value wise, there's a decent amount. I do like the shop and the enemy variety. We didn't even get into the enemy variety. Then the werewolf, the lichens, I don't care for them. I think they're kind of irritating, but we still have the big lichens, the zombies in the mansion, not the mansion, the castle, the cyborgs I really enjoyed. So there's more enemy variety than 7. That's what I can give it. But that's it. We still have Lady D, chasing you throughout the castle, and the sisters too. Even though they just are there to die. No character development, or don't even see their characters really. They're just scary, I guess. So thinking about it, it's a C tier. I put it below 5. I don't care for the story at all, but it's still a decent story. I think this has the worst story in the whole series, and I hate it so much. I hate the story in this game so much. That's what puts it so low. If the story was decent, it would probably be like an 8. But no, the story is told so terribly. The writing in the game is terrible. The game designers knew what they were doing. The writing team did not know what they were doing. That's Resident Evil's game. Okay, and then we get to the last game I've played in the series. I've not played 6. I know that's a controversial one, but I wonder what I'll think of it. I wanted to get my hands on 2. Have not gotten a chance, and like I said, I have Code Veronica. I just haven't had a chance to play it. I want to play the Revelations games too, but again, I haven't had a chance. But last game I played in the series so far, Resident Evil 1. I think this is the best Resident Evil game. And this game has the bonus of being the only game I've played to ever scare me. Like, to the point where I don't want to play the game. That's how much this game scares me. And when I say it scares me, I don't mean like it's a jump scare. It's like, oh, I'm scared, alright? It unnerves me. It makes me feel alone. It gives me high anxiety. The enemy variety in this game, we have, I think, there are hunters, zombies, crows, spiders, high enemy variety. I don't know why I jumped to that first. That's just where my mind went. I think the story in this game, it's cheesy Resident Evil. Oh, your Jill sandwich. I. It's funny. Plot twist villain. I think it works. I think the story works. It's a solid Resident Evil story. It's not the best. I think my favorite Resident Evil story would probably have to be the story of Raccoon City. 2 or 7. But it works. It works. And 2 remake, then 3 remake Raccoon City. No, not 3 remake. 3 original. I just love the Raccoon City storyline. But Spencer Mansion is fantastic. It's a fantastic area. I'm skipping ahead though. We didn't even get to the characters. I think I've only played Jill's story in this game, so I haven't fully played Resident Evil. But I think Jill's a great character based on what I saw of Chris. I think he's good. Wesker, I like him. One of my favorite characters in the series is Barry. I love Barry, and I know he's in one of the Revelations games, and I can't wait to see him again. I love Barry for some reason. We have Lisa Trevor. Haunting story that breaks my heart and disturbs me every time. Lisa Trevor in the story of the Bakers in Resident Evil 7. Probably the most disturbing stories to me. Lisa Trevor might take the cake though. Disturbing as hell. And when she chases you around, terrifying. Her design is amazing. Honestly, yeah, it's great. And let's get down to the puzzles. Most puzzles in the whole series in this game so far. I would say. I say so far if it as is. It's the first game. A fantastic game. The puzzles are designed well. It might get confusing at some parts. That's how well designed the puzzles are. But I mean, if you can anyone can get through it. Now we're down to the areas and locations. Spencer Mansion, 10 out of 10 area. 10 out of 10. It's haunting. When you go into the Spencer Mansion and you get that theme, the little choir just coming down on you, haunting, and you feel alone. And that's what I love about this game. You feel alone more than any other game in the series. Obviously, you have partners in 2, you have Mia in 7. Even though this game you feel pretty alone. But they're still humans, even though they don't feel human. So, yep. Honestly, all these games you have people, and you're alone. Apart from some appearances of Barry, feel alone. Then you go down to like the old house and stuff. I think those are good areas. And then you go back to the Spencer Mansion, and then you go down to the lab. I think there's like shark tanks there and stuff. No, you go down to like the shark tanks first, and I think that's it's just cool. It's cool. And for some reason, it works in this. I played this game on, like I said, the Origins collection, right? And I played Resident Evil 8 on the PS5. So that's where I play 8 too. And the game itself, the backgrounds don't look that good, and it feels clunkier to play than Zero, but it's still fun. I love like I said, I love the areas. How you go from a haunting mansion down to Shark Tank, down to a lab, and this is the first one. This is where the lab was introduced, and I think I love that. And I think all the areas are 10 out of 10. It's really well done. Bosses and enemies. Enemies, we have the zombies, hunters. We have what's the lady? Lisa Trevor. And we have the red hands. I think that's what they're crimson heads. Where if you don't burn a zombie's body or kill it, or not kill it, shoot its head off, it will come back faster and stronger. Terrifying mechanic. And when I am strategizing how I should burn these zombies, what I should kill, what I should do, how I should save ammo, only game where I've had to do that in the series. It's a 10 out of 10. It's survival horror at its roots, and you can tell. The atmosphere is amazing. It works. It's haunting. Some of the themes in this game scare me. They put fear into my heart. Extra content. We have right yeah, extra content. We have like invisible enemy mode and that sorts of stuff. That's all I've unlocked, but I know there's more, and there's a lot of costumes in this game too. So in the replay value, we have 2 different campaigns with Chris and Bill. I've never played Chris's, but I'll get to it someday when I'm not scared to play this game. And yeah, now let's get down to the bosses. Bosses in this game, mostly giant animals until the ending. We have Yawn the snake. I think Yawn's a good boss. You fight him 3 times, I think, 2 or 3 times. And I do like how he leads a character death. So it just it's very interesting how Resident Evil 1 and 0 both have these like giant animal bosses. I feel like they work better in this game though. Just because for one there's less of them. We have Yawn, the spider, the giant spider, I think Tiger Eyes or something, and then Neptune the shark. I think they work better than the ones in 0. There's more in 0 with less explanation, right? Less explanation of where they came from. And I like how they are all different. Where I mean the snake and the spider are mostly the same one. I say they're all different. I mean, Neptune, how he's not really shoot him until he's dead, but there's different ways. It's timed, and then you have to do the puzzles to kill him. I do enjoy that. And then we have the final boss, which wasn't a blob like it was in Zero. It was you get introduced to the Tyrant, which will come back to haunt you in Resident Evil 2 and 3. We're supposed to be in 5, but they cut it out. So you get introduced to the Tyrant. The plot twist villain. I think it works. Overall, this game, basically, I've only said positives about this game, and when you have these positives, they all come together. Well, they all come together in a way that works. Made by the same guy that made Resident Evil 4 too. So I mean, says something about himself. Fantastic at making these things, and I think it works. It works so well. And like I said, it's the only game that ever scared me. So that's Resident Evil, I guess. And yeah, and overall, when I started like playing these games, my first one I actually played was 2. So that's something to keep in mind. But when I was younger, I would watch videos of 4 and 5. I think one of my first Resident Evil videos I ever watched was Chris punching the boulder. I enjoyed that a lot when I was younger. Then when 7 came out, I watched Markiplier play it, and then I played 2. Okay, 2, 3, then I went through and played all the rest of the ones that I already see on this list. So I'm fairly new to the series in terms of like playing them, but they've been with me since I was younger. And yeah, that's Resident Evil. Like I said, I have Code Veronica downloaded on my PC, and I also have Resident Evil 6 here, but I want to beat 5 first before I get to 6. And I think this one's like 40 hours, 4 campaigns, I think. So it's a meaty game. I'm excited. I know this game's hated, but I'm very excited to see what I think about it. Because, I mean, people like Village. I don't like Village. People like Resident Evil 3 Remake a decent amount. I don't like that game at all. So, and people don't like Zero. I like Zero. So I'm very interested to play this game. I'll probably be playing this one alone because it's longer, though. I don't have that much time with friends. So, yeah. This is just one campaign. And yeah, that's Resident Evil. I'm just collecting all the games here right now. And yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully by the time Resident Evil 4 Remake comes out, and I think it's March. Again, I'm very excited to see what they do with that game. When it comes to remakes of video games, you still have the original you can play. It's like movies, but I think movies have less warrant to remakes rather than games where you can always make it better. You can always update it and still have the original game. There's a whole explanation of why I think game remakes have more warranty to them than movie remakes, but that's another discussion. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. This Resident Evil, very, very rough. I'm sorry about that. My thoughts are always jumbled. And yeah, Resident Evil Village. It moved up just talking about it, so yeah. I mean, 7 did too, so yeah, no, sorry. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. This was fun to make. I do thoroughly enjoy tier lists. Yeah. Maybe I'll do something else I love. Maybe like Zelda. I played like 12 of those games. It's been a while though. Yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.